Good morning and welcome to Living Local 15. I'm your host, Jessica Williams. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have a great show for you, so let's get started. First up, I get some summer book recommendations from the Allen County Public Library. So as you head to vacation, we'll let you know what book to grab. Then the YMCA joins me in studio to share about their annual Wash for a Cause fundraiser in partnership with Mike's Car Wash. So stay tuned as you learn how you can wash your car to benefit youth in our community. And later, it's Wealth Wednesday with Foster Financial, and we continue our series discussing the benefits of the Indiana Public Retirement System. Are you ready? Let's get started.
Fashion, food, and fun. You're watching Living Local 15 with your host, Jessica Williams.
As you head to vacation, now is a great time to grab a great book. And we have those recommendations for you. Aja Michael Keller, the Director of Communications at the Allen County Public Library, joins me with some summer book recommendations. Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Okay. So now is like a really great time to read, right? People are outdoors, they're hanging out by the pool, they're going on vacation, or they're just cuddling up at home. And it's good to have a book. So what recommendations do you have for me today?
Well, I always bring a bunch, so we'll talk about a few that I'm excited about and a little bit of something for everybody.
Yes.
So we'll just dive in here. First one I want to talk about is brand new on our shelves, and it's called Game Plan. It's right here.
Okay.
It's by LeBron James and Mike Mancias. And Mike Mancias is a trainer who has worked with many athletes and Olympians. You know, the Olympics are coming up.
Yes.
And so it is all about how you marry the different parts of your life as part of your training. You know, your nutrition, your sleep. He talks about how naps are not just for babies. I love that because I like a good nap. And so I think this is, you know, a lot of athletes will be going back, starting their training for the fall sports and those sorts of things. You know, read up over the summer when you're not in training and learn about the other important parts of being a strong athlete and how that can impact your performance.
I like that. Mind, body, training, all in one.
And speaking of folks who are not at work this summer, our teachers are home.
Yes.
And I have so much respect for teachers. My cousin is a kindergarten teacher, and she works so hard during the year. And she really deserves this summer break. And this book is called Happy Teacher Revolution. It's up here. And it's the educator's roadmap to claiming and sustaining joy. So it's about taking care of yourself, taking care of your well-being, finding that joy and carrying that through the school year, because that is not an easy job.
Right.
And sometimes very, very hard on you emotionally. And so that's a great new book right on that I grabbed off of our new shelf just this morning. Also, folks, getting ready for the school year is the Freshman Survival Guide.
Oh,
now that's right here.
That's interesting. Yeah.
This book is it's been around for years. About I think 2012 the first edition came out, but it's been revised. Now, so this is for college freshmen.
That's a lot of advice in there.
It is for college freshmen. Now, this is staggering to me. 2.5 million students will go away for their freshman year this fall. 1 out of 3 of them will not return for their sophomore year. And that is so scary to me, you know, that first year is so difficult for them. And so this is chock full of tips, tools, stories, ways to make the most out of that first year so that you can be successful for all of your college years.
I love this. I mean, this really is a guide. I'm looking, when is it more than just homesick, dealing with the pressures of groups and people, so that peer pressure, and then also professors' pet peeves. Like, how do you just like get on the best side of everybody and create a balance? This is really cool. I've never heard of this book.
You know, college is different now than it was when I went to college. They have social media to deal with. They have cell phones everywhere. Everything is recorded. All of that is a totally new level of pressure, aside from the academics. So I think that's great for anybody who's sending their student away this fall. I always bring a cookbook, so of course I had to bring a barbecue cookbook. So this one is from the Barbecue Pit Boys, which I have learned is the #1 YouTube and Facebook video series for barbecuing. And so this is all of their tips and tricks of how to make perfect barbecue.
Ooh, look at these
Great
pictures.
Photos. Want to make
hungry, right?
food.
Eating a steak early in the morning, why not?
Steak and eggs.
Right, yummy. And I hear that you brought in some local
I did.
authors.
I
Yes.
did. That's a great segue because I brought this one. This was recommended by Meg Bell, and she's one of my go-to librarians for book recommendations. It's Communicate Courage by Michelle Gladio. She's a local presenter, trainer, and this is all about some tangible things you can do to improve your communication style with your colleagues, as a professional, with your family. And so Michelle is really fantastic. In fact, Meg said, what did she say? She said, this woman is going places. One day she's going to meet Oprah. And I was like, okay, well, let's talk about her. So, and this book, highly recommended by Meg. So if you're wanting to know a little bit and you want to hear about communication and from a local expert, grab this one, Communicate with Courage by Michelle Gladio.
Awesome. And I think we have time for one more.
One more. Okay, well, these two actually include stories by Paula Ashe. This one is her first novel, We Are Here to Hurt Each Other. And great horror stories. This one is an anthology that actually includes another local author, Jacqueline Johanna Garver. So you can get some great local author stories from the library.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Aja.
Thank you for having me.
And if you would like more information about the Allen County Public Library and, of course, all of these books you can rent for free, just go down and get your library card. We'll have their website listed below, and I'll see you after the break.
Have an idea for the show? Want to find out how you can be a guest? Contact us at livinglocal15@wayne.com.
This segment sponsored by Foster Financial. Welcome to Women's Wealth Wednesday, where we provide you with holistic financial advice, but for women. And today, joining me is Vice President Caleb Doan of Foster Financial. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so we are continuing this really exciting conversation, diving into the Indiana retirement system. Now, we've talked the last couple of weeks. Kind of give us a refresher on what we've covered and what you will share with us today.
Yeah. So the Indiana public retirement system is pretty complex. There's a lot of things going on, and a lot of times this impacts teachers. And so there's a lot of teachers at home now for the summer. Maybe they're taking a look at what their financial plan looks like, and maybe they're thinking about retiring within the next couple of years. So we talked a little bit about the pension plan, how that works. A couple weeks ago, we talked about the health insurance side of things, what to do for health insurance when somebody retires, and a few of the investment accounts that go along with that. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the defined contribution plan, which is the 403B. It acts very similar to a 401k at kind of other employers, so people might really be familiar with those. But it's a lot different from the pension plan. So.
Well, I love it when you bring us some new acronyms and new terms to learn. Okay, so 403B, what exactly is that?
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of helpful to contrast it maybe with the pension plan. With a pension, it's what they consider kind of a defined benefit plan, where the employer lays out exactly what the benefit's going to be. They say, hey, we're going to take your average 5, highest years of salary, multiply that by the number of years that you work, divide that by a certain figure, and that's the monthly pension benefit that we're going to give to you when you retire. So the employer is kind of defining the benefit that you'll get. With a 403B, which with the Indiana Public Retirement System, the 403B is through VOIA. So that might be kind of a term that rings a bell for some participants. With the 403B, it's a defined contribution plan. So the employer just defines how much they're going to contribute into the plan, but the employee has complete, sway over how it's invested. So the employer says, hey, you can contribute as much as you want to this plan, 10% of your paycheck, 15% of your paycheck, whatever it is, we'll match 3% or whatever they decide. And then the employee gets to decide how that's actually invested.
That's fascinating. So they kind of take a little bit more power over their financial future in that sense. But how would they know what to invest in? That sounds like the task may be a little cumbersome.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. So you're kind of defaulted into a certain fund, But a lot of times that fund doesn't match your specific goals. Of course, not everyone is the same, and not everyone needs to be invested in the same way.
Right.
And so that's where a financial advisor kind of putting together a plan for somebody can pick and choose between the funds that are in that 403B plan and say, hey, you actually need to be 5% in this, 10% in this, 15% in this. And then we can reallocate that for the clients.
Okay, and so just going back though, the pension, those funds where it's invested in is decided by the employer?
Yeah, the employer has complete control over that.
Okay.
And it's their responsibility to kind of invest it in a certain way to be able to give the employee that income, that pension check every single month in retirement. The 403B is completely up to the employee. So they could leave it all in a money market kind of cash account. They could put it in a super aggressive growth fund. And typically we like to be somewhere in the middle there that's going towards the employee's goals.
So does it work in the same way as a 401k that you access these funds upon retirement or a pension upon retirement? Number one. Number two, is this something that you roll into an investment plan later or into distributions later?
Yeah, great question. So yes, you get to access it when you retire or when you leave the company. You can roll it. And yeah, you can certainly roll the funds when you retire, and there's even a provision that allows you to roll the funds while you're still working if you've hit the age 59 and a half. So let's say you're planning on working until you're 65, but you hit 59 and a half and you really want your financial advisor to be kind of actively managing those funds. You can say, hey, I've got 300 grand saved up. I'm going to roll that to my outside IRA with my financial advisor. I'll keep contributing to the 401k, or 403b, which is now at a zero balance. And then my advisor can manage that 300 grand inside my IRA.
So you have your pension that's coming from your employer, and then you have your 403b that you're contributing, and they will match. So you're taking advantage of all of the possible contributions from your employer. Now, would someone have a third account, a 401k also?
Not typically within the Indiana public retirement system. The 403b kind of replaces the 401k. So that's typically how it works because they're very similar accounts. A 403b is oftentimes like a public employee's 401k. So it just has slightly different kind of rules with it, but very, very similar.
Okay, so my last question for you is, because I'm thinking about if someone's watching and they're wondering like, well, I don't know what I set up when I started with the Fort Wayne Community Schools or whichever public service job that they have. And so what should they do to go about evaluating how are my plans set up, and can I still contribute and get the max of my contributions back?
I'd say, one of the best ways is to have a financial plan put together. So when somebody comes to us from Fort Wayne Community Schools, Southwest Allen County Schools, wherever it is, we're really familiar with the plans, and so we can kind of get our arms around everything and say, all right, let's call on the pension, let's call on the 403b, let's look at your investment options, let's look at how much income you need in retirement, how many years until you're going to retire, and we can put a plan, a custom plan that has all of those facets involved in it. So it's a lot of things to kind of consider, and when you turn on the pension versus when you retire, there's so many things that impact one another. So setting up a plan, identifying what your goals are, and then pursuing that plan is a really helpful thing.
So many variables that are moving that has to be set up properly. So each week I learn more and more why financial planning is so important. So thank you, Caleb.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you'd like more information about Foster Financial, you can contact them, give them a call for a complimentary consultation. We'll have their phone number listed below, and we'll be right back. This segment sponsored by Foster Financial.
Follow us on social media at Living Local 15.
The YMCA of Greater Fort Wayne aims to put Christian principles into practice through their many programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body. And they can accomplish that mission through different fundraisers, including the Wash for a Cause. Joining me today is Cameron Shackelford, who is their youth advocate for Youth Service Bureau. Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Good. Okay, so this event that's happening is an annual event, so I'm sure you all are super excited for it. And so tell me just a little bit about the youth services side of the YMCA before we get started.
Yeah, so the YMCA's Youth Service Bureau is a branch of the YMCA. We house a lot of social services, so all of our services are free to the community. We house our Safe Place program, which is a 24/7 crisis line for youth that are dealing with anywhere from bullying to suicidal ideation.
Oh, wow.
And then we have our mentoring program called Youth Advocacy, where we mentor these youth all throughout school and then a little bit afterwards because the mentoring never stops. And then we have our Homeless Youth Coordination program, where we work with kids that are dealing with homelessness. And so we do a lot in the community. And so this fundraiser helps those programs.
Yes, absolutely. And what's cool is that I know that you all cater to a lot of youth just through your after school program. People can join the membership. And so when you do your outreach in such a way, trying to target those youth that need it the most, do they have to be members, or do you all go into the community and kind of source and kind of find those who need this help?
Yeah, so the beautiful thing about the YMCA's Youth Service Bureau is that it's open to the community. And like I said, it's free for everyone. And so what we do is we try to really just find the unique dignity of each family and serve them the best way they can. So some of our families are dealing with some very hard traumas that they go through. A lot of our families deal with adverse childhood experiences, which we know now causes their brain to be rewired for survival and not for thriving. And so a lot of our programs are here to kind of unlearn a lot of those things, give them a safe space to be a part of, and just something to be a part of in general, because a lot of our kids are kind of floundering in purpose. And so we just love to go out in the community and meet with a lot of these kids and, just show them that they're worth something and put those Christian principles into practice through our programs.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And so let's talk about this event. So this Wash for a Cause, what is it exactly? Like, what can people expect, or how can they participate?
Yes, so if you go to any Mike's location, any Mike's Car Wash location, and you order the Ultimate Wash, 50% of those proceeds will go to the YMCA's Youth Service Bureau.
Oh, wow.
And so it's a huge help for our programs because, like I said, they're all free for the community. And so it helps keeping people employed. It helps keep people, these kids in these services and programs. A lot of our families, like I said, are dealing with homelessness. And so we help, things like with food, clothing vouchers, and different things like that.
Okay. And so Mike's Car Wash, of course, is like all over Fort Wayne. There's so many different locations. So one, are all locations a part of this fundraiser that's happening?
Yes, all of the Mike's Car Wash locations, including the ones in the outer counties outside of Fort Wayne, are also included in the Wash for a Cause fundraiser.
Okay, wonderful. And then, so this takes place for 2 days. So it's July the 12th through 14th?
Yes.
Okay, so just all day, those 2 days, go get your car washed is the goal.
Yeah, so really 3 days. So it's that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
So the 12th through the 14th is where you can go to any Mike's location and order that Ultimate Wash, get your car cleaned, and for a good cause.
That's great. And so just as people think about that push, and it's like, okay, why do I really need to go and support? What would be the biggest message in the way that this fundraiser specifically and directly impacts this program?
Yeah, the way that this fundraiser will specifically impact our programs is we are helping a lot of youth that are struggling and suffering. So a lot of our kids that we work with have mental health issues, their financial crisis, the cost of living has gone up, the housing burden that's been this year or the past few couple years with after COVID. And so we have a lot of kids that, don't have stable housing. And so we help these families get signed up for stable housing, and we also help meet with them if they've ran away from home, and we help reunify them with their family, different things like that. So when you're getting that wash, just think about those families that we're helping, and those families that we're out just trying to show a better path.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you've been with the YMCA for 7 years, and so you work directly as a youth advocate. So what made you want to work for this organization, and what really brings you joy with working in this department?
Yeah, so that's like a really personal question. So like when we're out in the community and we're just doing, something that's not even so in depth as to like we're trying to counsel a youth that is dealing with a mental health crisis. Outside of that, it's just being around these kids and really just standing alongside them in their progress and their journey and seeing that growth happen, and just knowing some of their stories and seeing how much growth. When you see these kids, you won't think anything that they're just a typical kid, but working with these kids personally and seeing some of the things that they have to go through just to get to school every day and seeing them still have a smile on their face, that motivates me, and it really makes me grateful for my life. And just knowing that we're here to help and walk alongside them. We're not any better than any of these kids, because if we were put in any of their circumstances, we would probably be doing a lot of the same stuff. So to deter them from a life of potentially crime, a life of potential suffering, we try to provide those alternatives for those youth. And so it brings me a lot of joy just to see that. And it's not really a moment, and it's really just, in those times where we're, going out to eat, having a conversation at Starbucks, something like that, really just, it fills your cup.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, Cameron, and for coming in and chatting with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And if you'd like more information about the YMCA Wash for a Cause, we'll have their website listed below, and I'll see you after the break.
Living Local 15, proudly driven by the Kelly Automotive Group.
Well, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, you can always catch up on episodes and segments of Living Local 15 by going to WANE.com, downloading the WANE app, and also checking us out on YouTube. And I'll leave you with this. It's never too late to live your best life, so start living it today. And I look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Go to the Living Local 15 page on WANE.com for recipes from the show, to watch a segment again, and to get information on products and services featured on Living Local 15. Content segments during today's Living Local 15 were paid for by these sponsors.